I'm going to give you the one easy way to achieve any goal you have. I don't care what it is. If you want to get fit, lose weight, learn a new language, write a book, get 1 million followers on TikTok, get rich, run a business, whatever it is you want to do, this is the one easy way to achieve it. Stay consistent. We all know that to get anywhere, we have to stay consistent. We've known this since the very beginning. I mean, look at the baby. What does your baby do when it's learning how to walk? It keeps trying every single day until boom, one day it walks. When you're learning how to drive, what do? You keep trying to drive every day until boom, you can drive. When you're trying to achieve anything, you work towards it every day until boom, you achieve it. That's how consistency works. You see something, you work towards it every day, and you reach it. That is the easy way, the one easy way to achieve any goal, no matter how ambitious it is. Being consistent is how you will reach it. Or you can be like most people who try everything else but staying consistent. Look at the guy who wants to be rich, who jumps from business to business, trying to find the quickest way to get that money, versus the guy who just stays at one thing every day, working on it, building on it, growing it, until boom, he's rich, while the other guy is still jumping from business to business, trying to find a way to make it. Or the person who wants to lose weight, jumping from diet to diet, versus the person who picks one diet and sticks with it. That person is going to lose weight, while the other person is still trying to find the right diet that will work for them. And think about the person who wants to learn a skill. Instead of practicing it every day, they practice it and they feel like it, and then they toss it to the side, and they get inspired, and they practice it a little bit more, and then they're not consistent with it. Versus the person who comes in every day and practices for 30 minutes. The person who does that, who practices every day for 30 minutes, is going to learn that skill and master it, while the person who still just practicing it when they feel like it, being inconsistent, they're never going to master even the basics of that skill. Consistency is the way to achieve any goal you have, no matter how ambitious it is. I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to be consistent. The first tip is, I want you to make it easy to start on your goal. The biggest problem I see is that people set these goals that are hard for them to work on. They say, okay, I want to be fit. So they tell themselves they're going to go to the gym for an hour 4 times a week. They say they're going to write a book and do 2,000 words every day. Or they say they're going to learn a skill like the piano and practice it for 4 hours a day. And when they're motivated, it's easy to show up to the gym for an hour, to write 2,000 words, to practice for 4 hours. But when they're not motivated, that's when consistency crashes. Because the minute the brain says, I don't feel like doing that, that is too much, you're not going to do it. I don't care how much you fight it, I don't care how disciplined you are, you're not going to do it. So to fix that, is to just make it so easy, you don't need motivation to do it. If you want to get fit, don't just say you're going to go to the gym for an hour, say you're going to go for 2 minutes. If you want to write a book, don't say you're going to write 2,000 words, say you're going to write 1 word. If you want to learn a skill, don't say you're going to practice for 4 hours, say you're going to practice for 5 minutes. When you set the bar low, it makes it so easy to start, you don't even need motivation. So when that motivation leaves, because it will eventually leave, and you're thinking, I don't feel like going to the gym, well, your brain is not going to tell you, don't go. Oh, just take a day off. It's going to say, yeah, well, it's only 2 minutes to go. I'll just go in and get out real quick. It's so easy, you don't feel any resistance to doing it. You just say, well, it is just a little trip and back. I'll do it quickly. When you don't want to write, your brain won't just say, nah, just don't write. You're good. Instead, it'll be like, well, it is just 1 word. You could really just type any letter and you're good. And you'll get up and write. If you don't want to practice the piano, well, it'll be easy for you to just do it anyway, because 5 minutes is hitting some keys, it's light work. And if 5 minutes is too much, then drop it to 2 minutes or 30 seconds. Drop it to a level where you feel like doing that thing is slight work, and it will be so easy for you to do it. Now you might be thinking, well, if I only do the smallest thing and leave, then I'm not going to make any progress. So how can I achieve my goals? Here's the thing. If you start, you are never going to just stop. Sometimes you will, but most cases, if you start, momentum is going to come and you're going to do a lot more than what you expected. So when you get to the gym, you're probably going to stay more than 2 minutes. When you start typing 1 word, you're probably going to type more than 1 word. And when you start hitting the keys on the piano, you're probably going to start practicing more, longer than you expected. So you're not starting small to end small. You're starting small to end big, but you got to start small to trick your brain. Because we are working with a brain that's lazy, and it's going to do everything it can to make us lazy. So we can kind of tiptoe around the brain and make it think we're only going to be doing a small amount of work so we can do it and we don't need motivation. We can just do it. But then you can get up and start working on it. All while knowing in the back of your head, once you get started, you know you're going to be doing a lot more. The second tip I have is to have a no excuses mindset, which means no matter what, you're going to work on your goal. You're going to make some type of progress. No excuses. This means even if you have a reasonable excuse as to why you can't work on that goal, no excuses. You're going to work on it. If you've been out all day and you're tired and you just don't feel like running, no excuses. Because you said you're going to show up every day to run, so you're going to run. When you don't feel like writing, you're just brain dead and the muse isn't hitting you, no excuses. You're going to get in there and you're going to write, regardless. If you don't feel like practicing that skill, like the piano, because you're just tired of it, no excuses. Because you said you want to learn the piano, so you're going to do it. No excuses. You're working on it. Having that mantra, no excuses, gives you that mental toughness you need to keep doing that thing over and over and over again, even when you reach the point where you just don't want to. You want to reach the goal, but you just don't feel like working anymore. You just want to lay around and do nothing. That mental toughness is going to kick in to say, no excuses. You're going to do it. And again, even when you have a reasonable excuse, that no excuses mindset won't let you off the hook. It's going to tell you, no excuses. You gotta get this done. You said you're gonna get this done. This means something to you, so you're going to work on it. And I use this mentality all the time, especially when it comes to running, because there are some days where I do not want to run. I really don't. But I tell myself, no excuses. I put my shoes on, even though the whole time I'm in my head complaining, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. No excuses. You're going to do it. So I get up and I do it. Now the third and last tip I have for you is to track yourself. If you don't take anything at all from this video, please just take tracking yourself. I was a person who could never go to gym more than like 3 days in a row. I'd start writing some book that I really wanted to finish, and then I just kind of fade away after a few weeks and then come back after a few months. I was the person who always started these new projects and never completed any of them. Since I started tracking myself, that all changed. I went from the person who couldn't go more than like 3 days working out to person who's gone more than 700 days working out. I went from somebody who could only go a few weeks writing before I just randomly quit to somebody who's filled up notebooks by hand, written hundreds of blogs, and completed 100-page workbooks. I went from somebody who could never be consistent for crap to somebody who can sit down in front of a camera and record myself for 1 hour every single day. And I've only been able to do that because I track myself. I'm going to give you 2 ways you can track yourself if you're just starting out. 1, you can just get a habit tracker on the App Store, or 2, you can make a tracker in your Notes app, just like I do. And I'll have some screenshots popping up so you can kind of get an idea of how you can make a tracker. Now, the thing about tracking yourself is that it holds you accountable to first do that thing, to work on your goals, because if you don't, well then, at the end of the day, when you try to see whether or not you did or not, you're going to have to stare in the face that you did not work on that goal. So that tracker is going to hold you accountable and make sure that you actually work on it. But it's going to give you a motivating factor, because as you keep tracking yourself and tracking the days you work on your goals every single day, eventually you're gonna reach this point where you don't want that streak to end. It's kind of like a Snapchat streak. You know how you have a streak with your best friend and it gets to like 500 days, and are you proud of it because you're like, yeah, we've been going 500 days strong. And so you show up to make sure that that streak does not end every single day. But the same thing is going to happen to the streaks of you working on your goals. At some point, you're going to reach this level where you just do not want to see that streak end. And I'm speaking this from example because I've gone more than 700 days on some of these habits, and I would literally die if I went 1 day without doing it, because that would mean that number, that high number I've reached, I'm almost to the thousands, would to go away. And so that motivates me to work on my goals no matter what, every single day, because I do not want to see that streak die. And the same thing will happen to you once you start tracking yourself. I would go into more detail, but I don't want to make the video too long, and I've been speaking for 22 minutes already. I'm going to cut it off right here. Remember, take action, stay consistent, make your goals happen. I will see you later.